We see it on the news constantly, and it goes something like this. Insert healthcare organization here experienced a breach in their data this week after insert reason here took place. That story and more tonight at 11 p.m. The point I'm trying to make after that little news clip I just had is that we see HIPAA violations often. Some experts within the industry think that they're inevitable. As a result, organizations implement policies, training, cybersecurity safeguards, and sometimes hire entire departments to ensure that they remain compliant. Even with all those safeguards implemented though, a violation could still happen. Now, I could go on and on about what could happen to an organization after a breach occurs, or how they should discipline the employee who caused the violation in the first place. But there's already hundreds of thousands of pieces of content about that. Instead, what I'm going to go over is what happens to the employees that committed a breach and answer the question, can you get a job after a HIPAA violation? Hi everyone, I'm Matt from eTactics, and today I'm going to explain whether or not you can get a job after committing a HIPAA violation. Before we get started though, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the button below. While you're down there, hit that alert bell icon next to it as well, so when we post new helpful content, you get notified. What ultimately determines whether or not you can get a job after committing a HIPAA violation is the severity of the violation that you committed. Not every breach requires a federal investigation and calls for the perpetrator to resign for their position. Yes, if an employee goes through the electronic health record or EHR system looking for the health information of celebrities that might have checked in at the organization, they should get fired. Alternatively though, should an employee get fired if they accidentally saw the PHI that they shouldn't because they clicked on the wrong file? No. The Department of Health and Human Services Office of Civil Rights, or shortened as the HHS, classifies violations into 4 tiers, all determined based on severity and organizational response. Next, what decides if you can get a job after a violation is based on what your current employer decides. The larger the tier, the higher chance an employee has to face termination. A lower tier might only require the employee who committed the breach to have a meeting with the compliance department where they go over what happened and why it was wrong. In other words, the organization has control over the employee's punishment. A higher tier though might end up getting noticed and covered by the news outlets across the country depending on its severity. Thus, what happens to the employee in that situation depends on the federal judge and what they decide. Third, a violation you committed could end up getting all the way to licensing organizations if you're a part of any of them. Working as a healthcare professional has benefits that go beyond the financial earnings that come along with it. There are state and national agencies devoted to educating, licensing, and disciplining the different careers within the medical field. As an example, registered nurses join their state board of nursing only after passing the NCLEX exam. My point after all this is to bring to light one of the specific duties of these agencies and connect it to HIPAA violations. Yes, each state boards of nurses is different, but they all agree with the nurse's role in protecting PHI. If you commit a bad enough breach, you could lose your license to practice in healthcare altogether. Finally, whether or not you can get another job after you've committed a HIPAA violation also depends on your future employer's process. Let's say that you're a nurse and were the source of a HIPAA violation from your previous employer. I specifically included the word previous because they let you go as a conclusion of their internal investigation on the breach. It wasn't necessarily a big violation though, it was just your third strike and they had no choice but to let you go because of their office policy. So you start applying for jobs and hear back from another healthcare organization rather quickly. Time to put on your formal hire me clothes and head to your first interview. Of course, during the cross-examination, the representative from the hiring organization asks you, why did you leave your previous employer? You can't blame them for asking you that question. They have a right to know why that relationship no longer exists in your professional career. You can't lie to them, so you confess that you violated HIPAA. As a result, they decide that you're not a fit for their organization. All hope is not lost though, as some organizations may look past your previous violations and view them as a learning experience for you. But everything depends on their policies and safeguards surrounding patient privacy and security. Now, after going over all this content in this video, the answer to your question at the beginning of it is it depends. That may come off as a generic answer and I spent hours trying to come up with a better answer for you, but there's just too much involved with a HIPAA violation to determine whether or not you'll be able to get a job within healthcare ever again. If you'd like to learn more about HIPAA violations, reach out to eTactics. And you already made this far into the video, so you might as well like it, share it, and comment below. Well, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to our YouTube channel.